Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing.
Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 303 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. I hope this finds you feeling good and living a life that is authentic. As I record this, it's the end of the year, and it's a time when people usually give some thought to who or how they want to be this next year. I'll periodically re-listen to certain of my podcast episodes because maybe they speak to me or maybe I just feel it's relevant for the time. So this episode is one that I recorded back in August, but it's so good and such a good reminder for each of us to be true to what we want in everything we do. We have one life. Let's not waste it living someone else's dream or hanging on to things and habits that we've grown out of, but maybe someone else hasn't. So this is a repeat of episode 268. Why are you hanging on to things you don't want? It's a good one. Share it with 3 people so they can start the new year living authentically who they want to be. Or maybe you're listening and it's June. Whenever you're listening, this one applies. So be sure to share it. All right. Now, many of you know, if you've been listening to me for a while, that I'm an interior designer by trade. So as an interior designer, I get to help people recreate their homes. I love that. And most of the time when I'm helping someone update their home or totally renovate their home, they'll ask me, hey, can I hang on to this piece or will this piece still work with the new design? They want to hang on to things maybe because they paid a lot for them, 20 years ago. Or they don't really like the piece, but it makes them sort of feel guilty to get rid of it. And I am always perfectly honest with them. And sometimes people are genuinely just looking for permission to get rid of something. And sometimes they're truly torn. I always say, if you genuinely love something and it makes you happy to look at it, then we'll, of course, work it in. But if you're keeping something you don't like because it meant something to someone else, then let's find it its new home where someone else will love it again. It deserves that. We recently totally redid our house, totally different design. And I have a few pieces that my grandfather made. One is a bench from a horse and buggy that he found at an antique store like gazillion years ago. And I could and will make that work anywhere because I truly love it. It makes me happy every time I look at it. Sometimes it feels like the exact same thing when I'm doing coaching, when I'm coaching with someone. Because when we're working on updating ourselves, we have to do the same thing. And sometimes there's parts of us that someone else likes, but it doesn't serve us anymore. It's okay to let that go. Nothing would make my parents happier than if I went back to being in their religion. But that thought never even occurs to me. Never. Because that wouldn't serve me. I've let that part go. And sometimes we'll be with friends and everyone's having a drink and they ask me, hey, what do you want to drink? And I'll say, I'll just have water. And I know they might like it if I drink too, but I don't want to. Not on a Tuesday. So I let that go. That doesn't fit into my new house, so to speak. And guess what? They don't really care if I drink or not, maybe for a minute, and then we move on and everyone has an amazing time and everyone gets to do exactly what they want. You don't have to keep that grandfather clock you don't like simply because your mother loved it. You don't. And you don't have to keep that old habit or belief simply because your friends or your parents or your teacher still want you to have it. We worry so much about what other people think when what we truly should be the most worried about is what we think. If I keep living my life trying to fit into everyone else's, I may seem happy to them, but inside, I'm slowly losing myself and who I want to be. If I drink because other people will have more fun if I do, but I don't want it, what am I telling myself? I'm telling myself, hey, you don't matter. What everyone else thinks matters. And let me say this harsh truth. If I do that, if I drink and I don't want it, but just because it would have more fun, well, now I resent my friends because I drink even though I don't want to. Whose fault is that? My friends? No, of course not. It's mine. That's completely 100% my choice. It's kind of like being irritated that you're keeping a piece of art you don't like when the only reason you keep it is because your grandmother painted it. Well, either find something you love about it or let it find its way to a home that will love it. That's something I learned in my feng shui course. Only things you love should have a place in your home. Just because someone else loved it once, it doesn't mean it's right for you. The same goes for your habits and your beliefs. It is not my job to keep being the same person someone else wants me to be. It's my job to be the person I want to be. And the right people will stay and the others will drop off. And that is simply okay. It feels good to update our space, doesn't it? It feels good to be in a space that you love. There is nothing wrong with shedding old pieces that you don't love and allowing them to find a new home. Where we get ourselves tangled up is when we start attaching meaning to letting go of things. You either love it or you don't. It either serves you or it doesn't, period. Think past the actual piece and forward to how you'll feel in a space that's full of only things you love. Think of the peace you'll feel and the joy of coming home to a place filled with only things you love. The same goes for your new identity. So many times we hang on to habits because of the meaning we attach to them. We might say, well, I'm afraid I'll lose my friends if I start eating healthy. Or they'll think I'm no fun if I don't drink. Or this is a big one, I won't know what's going on if I stop taking in the news or spending time on Twitter. But maybe stop focusing on what you'll lose and start focusing on what you'll gain instead. Maybe you'll gain your own respect. You'll gain your health back. You'll gain feeling really good every single morning. And you'll gain having a clear mind. I mean, you could actually create a life you love rather than settling for a life where distractions feel better than reality. A lot of us are living that way right now. My challenge to you today is to look at the things you wish you could change that aren't serving you or that you don't like in your life. It could be a grandfather's clock in your entry, or it could be drinking 3 margaritas every Tuesday. I don't know, but I bet you do. And then ask yourself, why am I not changing that? Is it because of what someone else will say or think? Is it because you feel guilty if you do? You don't even have to commit to changing that right now. Just be aware of why you're hanging on to it. You may realize it just never occurred to you that you can change it. You've got this. Share this episode with 3 people today. And if you haven't already, give me a 5-star review if you're loving the episodes. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together. And I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.